I think that the fourth chapter in Unit 3 might be the most important, and I think you should pay special attention to it. Uh, the cultural differences that have been discussed in the first three chapters were relevant and they're a factor to consider, but this is marketing and it's going to determine what's actually going to be sold. You may have taken BBB 2.0 and you went over the four P's, the marketing mix, creating ad campaigns, creating a product, designing a product. And if you didn't, you maybe should ask the teacher, ask me, or ask another student about some of those concepts, because those will be what you will probably take from this course to first year university. So one thing to be aware of is in the past 25 years or so, or past 30 years, the creation of global brands. It's easier to travel, it's easier to communicate. There's no barriers in terms of television or movies or the internet. So things can easily go around the world. And it's created these very, very powerful transnational companies that create a product that could travel anywhere in the world. It's not something that is associated with a particular country. We might be consuming that product and not even think, where did this come from? Example would be Red Bull, which tries to sort of position itself like it's like a soft drink maybe, but then when it's in Europe, it's in the European style cans. It's promoting local events in other parts of the world, so it doesn't come off as an American drink. Americans might think it's a local drink, but it's really just a global brand, something that could go anywhere. And if you think of some of the examples in the book, when it talks about Apple, when it talks about Starbucks, there's very, very simple imagery that's associated with these brands, which helps it, translate it across different borders. So just to understand what is marketing, it's the whole process. Sometimes students may say, well, marketing's just the advertisement, or marketing's just the giveaway, the promotion. Well, no, marketing's the whole thing. It's the development of the idea, the creation of something that people want to buy. It's the pricing, it's the promotion of it. It's like creating something that people want. So here's on the right is an ad from Tim Hortons showcasing their menu when they launched in the Philippines. And I was teaching this class, and we were talking about what adjustments Tim Hortons should make to launch into this new market. And a student who had just returned from the Philippines pointed out that, well, if you look at the prices there, this is like they're very, very expensive. These would be where you would go for a very special occasion, for a treat, for once a week. So we might think of Tim Hortons as somewhere to go every day, or where you could go a few times a week, as a very, very common, regular type of store. And they were trying to position themselves likewise, like, hey, meet up at Tim Hortons, except it's going to be located in the Philippines. The advertising looked similar, but the student made a very good point. That pricing is very, very expensive at the time for a family in the Philippines. So although families might have been shown in the advertisement, the pricing was wrong, and they might struggle because of that. So even something like how much to charge for each item, that's part of marketing as well. So for Tim Hortons, their marketing mix would include the type of coffee. Do they sell tea? Do they sell iced drinks? Do they sell espresso? Do they sell what baked goods are they selling? It would include the prices you see here on the menu. Can they launch there and still charge a price that will allow them to make money? Where should they be located? Where's the best place? We talked about how McDonald's in India in the first lesson had trouble with finding enough space for drive-throughs, so they had to sort of adapt that. And then the promotion, the advertising, the communication of a pitch to the consumer. So all of that from start to finish until it's sold is marketing. And two key terms: the individualized market strategy. You might also hear the term the transnational strategy, um, is where you adapt to each particular market. So that pest analysis from last class would definitely apply here. This might be common for a small company, a Canadian company that's succeeded well in Ontario and the rest of Canada. They might, try an individualized market strategy to the United States first of all, or the first step might be something very individualized. The This might work out because there is a lot of market research done, and so you know what you're getting into, and you create a very very specific type of ad campaign. But on the other hand, it costs a lot of money too, so there might be less profit. So individualized meaning adapt to each market that's out there. So Domino's Pizza would be an example of that. They don't sell the same pizzas in the United States that they sell in Asia. Here's a couple of the pizzas from Japan. The one in the top right is a seafood pizza. It has a white sauce, and it's their best seller in Japan. It's not a pepperoni pizza that's the best seller. It's, they identified that seafood, would be a better choice. And then in the bottom left is a bit of a weird product. It's called the Prestige Quattro. Again, it has some seafood on it. Apparently, it's $50, so it's sort of a premium pizza. And it's in Japan, they found that people are willing to pay a little bit extra for that kind of a pizza if it had good ingredients on it. So that would be an example of Domino's using an individualized market strategy. So the opposite to that is the global marketing strategy, trying to sort of a one size fits all with minor adjustments. You create a standard marketing campaign and then you just tweak it. So the benefits of this is it's low cost. You're not going to have to do something over and over again for each market. The benefits also, because the product is very, very similar, you can achieve some economies of scale. That's the savings you get when you produce items in large amounts. And the cons are it might not fit in every country. You might not do as well in some places because it's that idea is just not popular in that location. So your global marketing strategy creates a standard ad campaign. And big example would be Coke. Even when they do an ad campaign, like their Share a Coke campaign, they changed the names to reflect what were the most common names in each area, but they didn't change anything else. The formula is the same, the bottle is the same, the imagery, you could watch a commercial with the sound off. It would look exactly the same as a commercial in North America. So Coke would be a global marketing strategy company. And there's also some that would be using a bit of a combination or a bit of a hybrid. And if you recall our first lesson of this unit on McDonald's, they do such a hybrid approach. So some advertisements from South Africa, from India, from Pakistan, and you can see some of the same imagery. You can see the golden arches, you can see the fries. The burgers are presented similarly, but it's different, right? So there's a little bit of instead of a Big Mac, because of the lack of beef in India, they have the Maharaja Mac. They do special promotions for Ramadan, encouraging people to break their fast after sunset in Muslim countries. And so in the bottom right is one of those such advertisements. And then the bottom left is from South Africa. It's a Big Mac there. I don't particularly get the phrasing of the ad, but the idea is, hey, that's pretty much the same type of a Big Mac that you could get in Canada. So, and then the chapter goes into more detail, and I think that's some of the good detail to take with you to university. It just closes with the idea of a SWOT analysis. So there's an earlier video on how to do a SWOT analysis, and the personal SWOT analysis assignment. And this would be very common in business, to go look at a company and to do a SWOT analysis. So as an exercise, just picking a company that you like, could be large, could be small, could be international, could be local, and doing a SWOT analysis would be a helpful takeaway, because that is your business school, your MBA, your career. If you're in business, you'll be doing these for a while. So, the SWOT are strengths. These are good things. Usually it's what's happening now, and it's internal. So it's a positive element about the organization or the company that's happening now. W for weaknesses, again, something that's happening now related to the company, an internal element that's bad. So an area of improvement for the company. O and T, opportunities and threats, are usually environmental, external things, and there are things that might happen. McDonald's has the opportunity to expand into Pakistan and launch a special Ramadan campaign. That could increase their sales. It's something positive that might happen because it succeeded in India. There's good brand awareness. There's an opportunity to go to a nearby country. And then threats could be something negative. I mean, speaking during the COVID-19 crisis, the threat of businesses being closed for a long period of time, or how businesses will change if there's a worry about catching the coronavirus or the next flu or the next pandemic, well, that will certainly threaten any businesses trying to operate. So please go over this part of the chapter. Talks in detail, some questions that might help you put it together. But if you can take this little graphic, this little 2x2 matrix, and write down some quick points about any company you can think of, I think it would be a good exercise to consolidate all the material from this chapter about marketing. Thank you.